USA here with John Dawson. Hey, we're going to talk a little bit this morning about hot job opportunities in the United States, give you an update what's going on here in the marketplace. I'm Steve Albert. I'm here with Passport USA in Cincinnati, Ohio. We also have offices in Manila, Philippines, and Pasig City, and agent relationships in India. Hey, the purpose of today's webinar is to give you an update on what some of the greatest needs for PTs and OTs are, and the current decade. One of the challenges here in the United States that has slowed down the supply has been the increased educational standards. Now the entry to practice in physical therapy is a doctorate, although most states will still provide licenses to those that have BSPTs or MSPTs. But one thing to be aware of is that currently the master's degree is required in home health and skilled nursing. One of the interesting things about home health and skilled nursing is that it pays the most, and this is reflective of the supply-demand imbalance for home health and skilled nursing professionals in the United States right now, this fact that it does pay the most. On the other end of the scale are school settings that are under heavy demand here in the United States from the supply side, meaning many physical therapists and occupational therapists want to work in that career. Many are females that enjoy taking the summer off when their kids are out of school. These school settings are typically on 9-month settings. Flexibility. If you want control of your job, home health is definitely distinguishes itself as the most flexible. You're really in control of your hours working in the home health setting. On our next slide, I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of these disciplines and what it's like working in a skilled nursing facility. Many of you from overseas aren't familiar with our U.S. skilled nursing facilities. Typically, they cater to a geriatric population. They're typically residents of a skilled nursing facility or a nursing home, sometimes referred to it here in the United States. Typical size will be about 150 to 200 patients. They'll have gym. You'll provide your treatments in both gyms, and you also go to patients' rooms. There'll be a mix of individual and group therapy, and on a typical day, you'll see 9 to 12 patients. Things that our clients look for in hiring therapists are some experience with a geriatric population, good listening, clear speaking skills, and it's a great time for somebody that is interested in building long-term patient relationships. Unlike a hospital setting that we'll talk about next, these people you're going to see every day, for a year in, year out. It's a different style of therapy, and you can actually see, long-term progression. In the hospital setting, the treatments are also in either a centralized gym or in patient rooms, probably more commonly in patient rooms in a typical day. Similar to skilled nursing, you'll typically see 9 to 12 patients on a busy day. Predominantly, however, in an acute care hospital, you're only going to see those patients for 2 or 3 days. I mean, you're going to lay some groundwork for some therapy. They will likely continue with therapy after they leave the hospital. Important skill set here is good educational skills, being able to communicate with the patient what he needs to do or she needs to do when she's discharged, and also spend time educating that family member that may be with he or she in the hospital at the time of discharge. School settings, typically seasonal, September to May. Oftentimes you'll provide treatments at more than one school campus, and a typical day will be 7 to 8 students in a day. Home health, keys there. This is the United States views this as a cost-effective way of providing treatments in the United States right now. Much more cost-effective than staying in a hospital or skilled nursing facility, and preferable to many aging adults and incapacitated adults that prefer to stay in their own homes rather than be in a skilled nursing facility. Key things there, you've got to be able to drive. Typically you'll drive between sites. Some home health experience is always preferred. Typical day is 6 to 7 visits. What's critical for someone pursuing a career in home health is good scheduling skills, assertiveness, confidence, patient management skills. You're kind of driving your own ship, and that you'll be assigned a number of patients at the beginning of the week, typically 15 to 20, and you'll be expected to work with the patients and schedule 2 visits a week. Home health careers in the United States, the predominant model is that you get paid per visit. Now, this is extremely attractive to people that want to make extra money. In today's world, it is very infrequent that overtime is available in the hospital setting. It is not regularly available in the skilled nursing facility setting. It's even rarer that it's available in the school setting. But home health is a little bit different in that you can work as much as you want. So you can make as much income as you want. You're also in control of setting up your calendar. If you want to work 3 days a week, you can schedule all your patient visits in 3 days. If you want to work some of that time over the weekend, you can do that. It's really a lot more flexibility. In the United States, most agencies are small. Most of the therapists in the United States will oftentimes work for more than one agency. Car is important, if not mandatory, but you'll be reimbursed for that, usually at an attractive rate on a mile per driven basis. Locations for all jobs on the next slide are most favorable. The job prospects currently are in rural areas. Many U.S. physical therapists and new graduates are clustering in highly populated urban and suburban areas. You're going to have many more opportunities in rural America than you are in major metropolitan cities. A few of the states that we work heavily in are Texas, New Mexico, growing presence in California. Texas and New Mexico are attractive not only for the weather, but the favorable tax climate that they enjoy and the low cost of living. California, in contrast, has fantastic weather, much like Texas and New Mexico, but it's a much more expensive cost of living and a higher tax rate. We talked a little bit about some of the advantages of home health. I want to spend a minute with you telling you that we have recently partnered with one of the largest agencies in the United States that has a superior presence in the state of Texas and Oklahoma and emerging in Nevada. and we've spent a lot of time with them building out a very solid training program. It's a very selective program. The training program is typically in the 4 to 6 weeks. It'll start out initially here in Cincinnati, Ohio, with some basic driving instruction and GPS instruction. It then will transition to a clinical orientation in Texas. The first 2 weeks there'll probably be 0 home visits. The third week you'll be shadowing a therapist, probably doing 10 visits. The fourth week perhaps 20 visits, and then some extensive mentorship and supervision for the next few weeks until you can get up to a full load. And I mention this because it's a real opportunity for a really fast-growing part of the market, if you're interested in it, to get in with a solid company with some solid training that's going to look great on your resume indefinitely. The next slide, we talk about a little bit more about, you know, are you a good candidate for working in home health? You know, ability to work independently is critical. Good organizational skills and paperwork skills. Being comfortable with the home setting, going in and establishing a relationship with your clients is important. My advice, big picture, be open to geographic areas. Be ready to provide a solid orientation. We've spent many, many hours with our home health client developing the best-in-class international orientation program. Big money available in home health. And that's kind of what I wanted to do today, is give you a feel for the market, tell you what some of the niches that are growing, and also update you that H-1B visas are running out. This is going to be a critical time the next few weeks. I've got John Dawson here, who files probably more H-1Bs in our office than anyone else. John, can you give people just a sense of how fast those visas are running out, and you know, what that timeline is going to look like?
Yeah, we, as you may or may not know, each year there's 65,000 capped H-1B visas available, and you know, you can start filing for those in April, and then they will become you know, you can start working on those H-1B visas in October. So filings have been made since April, and right now, the last few weeks, we've really been seeing the pace of how fast the numbers are being used up increase exponentially. And we're down, as of Monday, there were about 8,500 of the 65,000 visas remaining. And so I think, you know, you're going to see those go within the next couple weeks, because you know, many people are going to try to get all their filings in that they can before they're all used up. So right at the end here, each year you always see a mad rush. And again, you know, for preparing for next year, it's important to you know, to make sure that you have everything prepared for that H-1B visa as close to April as possible, because each year is different. You know, you never know how long it's going to last each cycle. You know, some years we've seen it go very quickly, right after April 1st. So the important thing is to stay on top of that, and to make sure you get your SCCPT Type 1 and your TOEFL and all the things you need ready and done for the H-1B filing.
Well, thanks, John, and thanks for everyone for attending. This concludes our webinar this morning.